Spread Line's coming to you on a Wednesday, right here on the SportsGrid Network. It's the early line. It's Donnie Rightside, and it's Joe Ranieri. The SEC, Florida versus Texas, maybe the game of the night tonight. And how about overnight, Joe? We had those 7.5s in the marketplace today, as I see across the board, 6.5. Still is a favorite, though, for the road team, the Florida Gators. The total of this game listed at 157.5 as the live number. Florida coming to town, Joe, in the SEC as the most efficient defense there is. Effective field goal percentage, also number one in conference play. The best defensive rebounding team in conference play. Number two in not fouling on defense, and number one at defending inside the arc. Tough to score on Florida, but the question is, can Texas cover that 6.5? What is your spread line for that game tonight?
Well, it's an interesting move, right? Because beyond Michigan, Duke, and you got to figure Arizona, right? Florida is that other team, Donnie, that for the most part the public trusts. And they trust them probably more so than anybody else right now because they've been boat racing everybody. Ever since that loss to Auburn at home over a month ago, Florida's just been on a warpath. But here comes Texas, who just got absolutely boat raced by Georgia, of all teams, who got crushed by Florida. But here's the thing with Texas, and I can't explain it, Donnie, but they have been actually better against top 25 teams than anybody else. It's kind of crazy. They have played up to the competition that they've had, and they've actually done pretty well. So do I think Florida is going to lose this game? No. But I can tell you, the numbers tell me that, yeah, I can understand why it's not Florida by double digits here. It's a tricky spot for Florida on the road. Texas has played better against all the teams that are better than them this year, Donnie.
I got to tell you, I'm flipping this over to the Big East right now. St. John's in Connecticut. Do we smell a rat in the building, Joe? The reason I say that, this line opened up at 4.5 as a favorite overnight for Connecticut here. Still at 4.5 at some outlets, but also now rising to 5s and 5.5s as a favorite. And as we already know, UConn did lose to St. John's here, so we are looking for a bounce back. This time you have home court advantage for Connecticut. The number one most efficient offense in Big East play, it's Connecticut. The number one most effective defense in conference play for efficiency, that's the St. John's defense here. Look at that line, Joe. Explain it to us. What's that spread line?
Well, here it is. This is for all the marbles, folks, this game here tonight, because UConn has to win this game to have a chance at winning the Big East. Because if St. John's wins and sweeps the season series here, it's over. It's basically St. John's is going to be your Big East champion there, and UConn and everybody else who after the first 2 months of the season, Donnie, pretty much anointed UConn the best team in the East and one of the best teams in the country. Well, they didn't take into consideration what the Johnnies have been able to do. And let's face it, they've done a really good job of going toe-to-toe with UConn, and they got it done the first go-around. Are they going to be able to get it done the second go-around? Boy, this is going to be a fun one here tonight, Donnie. But the line is telling you, maybe, just maybe, UConn evens up the series and still has a shot at that Big East regular season title.
If we got a handicap in that game, you're just reading that line. That is a stone-cold UConn line. We'll see if it plays out that way a little bit later tonight. Let's keep it in the Big East, Joe. 7 p.m. here. Butler versus Villanova. With Villanova overnight is that double-digit spread, minus 11.5, Joe. That's come down in the marketplace to minus 9.5 across the board in a total of 146.5. Butler, 11th out of 11 teams in defensive efficiency here. We'll see if Villanova can pick up the pace after losing their last game, looking for a bounce back and expected to win by double digits. The question is, Joe, what's that spread line here for this one?
Yeah, well, Nova's interesting. I mean, Nova's done an amazing job here. Actually been much better than, folks that actually thought they were going to be here this year. Butler has dealt with a slew of injuries all year long. When they're healthy, Donnie, they look like a legit team that can beat anybody on any given night. But the injuries have just piled up, especially at the guard position here. It feels like this is a great spot for Nova to get back on track here. They're kind of a sleeper here. They're a team, Donnie, I think, come Big East tournament time, we're going to need to keep an eye on. I think there's some value with Nova moving forward.
Yeah, as long as they didn't have Kyle Neptune there as their coach, they're looking much better this year, heading towards Big East play, which again, week and a half, 2 weeks, Joe, we will be playing at Madison Square Garden. College basketball news and notes always starts with some ridiculousness before we get to the on-court play. And some of that ridiculousness, and I love the way On3 actually, worded this tweet here. It says former pro, which I think is fantastic. Charles Bediako's request for an injunction pending appeal has been denied by Judge Daniel Pruitt per court documents here. Exactly. Stop trying to game the system. Alabama knew they were in the wrong, but find a judge that'll play ball, exhaust all your options. Oh, well, we're already in the month of April. We'll drop this request because his college eligibility is already up and he's going to move on once again. Good to see some sanity, Joe, out there to say, you know what, Charles Bediako, go back and turn pro.
Exactly. I mean, A for effort, Donnie, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, you got no business at all playing college basketball now. You played it once, you left, you turned pro, didn't work out, and you came back to get the NIL money, and you've been trying desperately to get the courts to help you out. But, his situation was more unique than some of the other guys. The fact that he was there and then left to turn pro only to come back, that's not going to cut it. Thank goodness for common sense.
By the way, NIL, speaking of that, it is big money in college basketball. Maybe none bigger than how much that payroll is for the University of Kentucky. And Mark Pope is a new coach, feeling a little bit of the squeeze here. The SEC has fined Kentucky's Mark Pope $25,000 for his conduct and comments about the officiating against Auburn. Quote, Mitch, if those MFers try to fine me, they can't. I didn't say a word about how they cheated us here. Stroke that check, 25 G's. Mark Pope can't say that.
Yeah, been a rough season. Good win last night, by the way, for them. If they'd have lost to Carolina, I don't know that he'd ever been allowed back in the state of Kentucky. But kudos to him for, saying what we all thought. The only problem is, Donnie, going to cost him. It's not going to cost the rest of us there. Let us speak for you, Mark Pope. We'll let you know when you're robbed. We know it. You don't have to save the money, my friend. We know it.
Save the money, have a GoFundMe, have some NIL, pick up those fines, because everybody in Big Blue Nation was probably feeling the same way. Another Big Blue Nation here, BYU. You're going to get some uneven performances. Hey, they can't win this game. Oh, no, they did. Oh, those should be able to win this game easily. Oh, no, they didn't. 97 points they gave up on their home court yesterday, which included 52 in the first half by UCF as they pull off the 97-84 victory over BYU in Provo.
Yeah, and they were a 12-point favorite, Donnie, at home in Provo against a UCF team who, by the way, I mean, has been terrible against the better teams that they have faced, especially on the road this year. And what happens? They made 14 three-pointers, Donnie. They could play that game 99 more times. UCF is never making 14 three-pointers in that game again. So, unfortunate there for the BYU Cougars.
Three-point line, Joe, always the ultimate equalizer. I'll tell you what else is the ultimate equalizer. Go on the road and take the away crowd out of it immediately. Miami of Ohio versus Eastern Michigan, Joe. First half score, 43-22 Miami, cruising to a 74-64 victory, which I believe out there, Joe, there was some 10.5, some 10s, some 9.5, some 9s, some 8.5s out there. Congratulations when you got this on time. But Miami, 28-0, which includes perfection in the MAC as well at 15-0.
Well, we always say, right? Always get the best of the number. And, as of yet, this opened up 8.5. It was 9.5 yesterday morning when we talked about the game. Got as high as 10.5. And then it was all Eastern Michigan money coming into play yesterday, Donnie, pushing that thing all the way back down to 8.5. They didn't need it. A 43-22 first half was all Miami of Ohio needed to cruise to a 10-point win and remain undefeated.
How about ESPN Insights tweeted out, ESPN Analytics gives Miami, Ohio a 55% chance to finish the regular season undefeated. 3 games left, Joe, 2 on the road. At Western Michigan, home to Toledo, at Ohio on the 6th of March to end the season. How about that?
And we told folks here, Donnie, month and a half ago in the predictive markets, we said, boy, getting Miami of Ohio to be undefeated, running the table at 19 cents felt like a really good bargain at that point. Yeah, well, it's almost 70 cents right now, Donnie.
How about a bargain yesterday in the ACC? Some people thought Duke might slip up a little bit. Going against a bad basketball team after beating a quality Michigan #1 team on the road in the neutral site. They'll sleepwalk through this game. You know who sleptwalk through this game? The Notre Dame Fighting Irish. 100, Joe. Yes, to 56. A beatdown in the ACC.
Well, anybody who thought Notre Dame was going to have has not watched Notre Dame this year. They are awful on so many. Duke is not losing to Notre Dame ever. But kudos to them for putting up 100 points, 54 in the first half alone. Woof.
Yeah, and by the way, Notre Dame is 3-12 in the ACC. Here's what the ACC should do: we're going to kick out your horrible basketball team until your football team actually win a conference. Relegation, as Joe says, and he's correct. Final segment of the day. We had to bring the coach back in. There's too many good topics to talk about here. And Coach, if you know anything about him, he loves himself some Big East action. We saw this already this season: St. John's and Connecticut. We got a rematch once again tonight. Revenge is on the mind of Connecticut. Coach, they're a 4.5-point favorite right now in the marketplace and a 146.5. What are we thinking tonight? St. John's, Connecticut, big time.
Big time matchup here. Listen, St. John's, guys, is playing as well as anybody in the country. Zuby Ejiofor has been an absolute monster. Dylan Mitchell's really come on strong, and Bryce Hopkins started to play better. It's amazing how St. John's, right before that fight happened, was losing to Providence, and now they look like a Final Four team ever since. Guys, this matchup is so razor thin. If you look at Ken Palm, number 2 versus number 3, and when St. John's has the ball in offensive efficiency. Number 1 versus number 1 when Connecticut has the ball. These teams are literally like 1 and 2 defensively in every metric. I think Dan Hurley makes this a street fight. Now, the game is not on campus. It's in Hartford. So you still should have a decent St. John's contingent getting up there. Good luck getting tickets if you're trying to get there. Guys, I think the under, and I'll say this, if St. John's finds a way to pull us off, to sweep the series, and then you have MSG hosting the Big East tournament, guys, you start moving St. John's up seed lines. They're probably a 4. They win today, they're probably being a 3. They can find a way up to the 2 line by the time Selection Sunday comes in about 3 weeks.
Sounds good, Coach. Let's take you through what we do to end the show here. And we always like to reach out to the public on our Fave the Public poll. Here it comes. Coach, we asked one question to the public today, and that was, should Charles Bediako be allowed to play college basketball this season? 3 responses were given. I don't see why not. No, it's not fair, and it doesn't matter to me. 1 vote's getting almost 80%, Coach. No, it's not fair. What do you think?
I mean, after Bediako basically had to get a University of Alabama judge to get him a temporary injunction to play the first time, tells you all you need to know. At the end of the day, we know why Nate Oates wants him, because they don't play no damn defense and they need some kind of rim protector at the rim. Simply put, I'm 49 years old, almost 50, and you know what? If Bediako can come back, I can come back. I got about 3 or 4 minutes in me that I can get about 5,000, maybe a bucket. Joe Ranieri's got 3 years left. Donnie, you were a football guy. You got 4. Hey, let's all come back and play. Why don't we?
What do you say, Coach? All 3 of us show up to Monmouth and say, you know what, you're in a new conference. Let's get after it, Joe. We could play in that conference, huh?
I don't know. I mean, my boy King Bryce is a little, that's my guy, but he's a little nutty. I don't know if we can handle him. I couldn't handle enough friends with him. I don't know if we can all handle him playing for him.
No. All right, we need some adjustments here made to the show, Coach. You know, we're going to show you next our best bets. And I want your feedback on these best bets. It's bye. Joe's going college basketball tonight, Coach. Let's see, Joe. What is it?
If it ain't broke, let's not fix it, people. There's one team I trust more than the other tonight, and that is the number 7 Florida Gators on the road against the Texas Longhorns. I mean, let's face it, ever since that loss to Auburn at home, they have basically been going scorched earth, coming off of a 94-75 win against Ole Miss. They win on the road. They win at home. They are really starting to round into form like they did a year ago when they made the run to being a national champion. Sorry, Sean Miller, your team fouls too much, can't be trusted offensively. This feels like another blowout coming tonight. 6.5 feels like a gift. I will lay it with Florida on the road.